Welcome to the mixing room. I am Daniel.
I'm Trent, and today we got a great conversation with Isaac Berryhill for you. But before we get there, we are right on the heels of Record Store Day, and there were some really cool releases that happened for that. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit for you. Dan, I know that you made it out to a record store for Record Store Day. Tell us a little bit about what you saw, what you purchased. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I went on down. I went to Grimey's, and I'll be honest, I went after the fact because I just wasn't prepared. There's so many dedicated Nashvillians who were, sitting in line. They had their tents and they were there the night before. And there were all kinds of giveaways and stuff. But I went down to Grimey's over in East. And I was in search of an EP that the Killers put out. The Killers are phenomenal live. They're great on the record. They're also phenomenal live. And this EP was a live encore from their show at Madison Square Garden a few years ago. And in that encore, they brought up Bruce Springsteen, which, if you're watching the video of this, Bruce is hanging on the wall behind me. They brought out Bruce because they did a song called Dustland together on the record they were touring behind. And so Bruce came out and sang that with them, and he did a couple of his own with them as well. And it's such an electric performance. He brought Jake Clemens from the E Street Band with him for the saxophone parts. And again, the Killers are just such a high intensity group in a live setting. That so they did this limited vinyl as an EP release for Record Store Day. By the time I got over to Grimey's, they were sold out of it. However, I was lucky enough while I was there to catch a signed copy of Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors' Strangers No More record from 2023, I believe. Um, just there on the shelves, man. I don't know if Drew stopped in earlier in the week or something, but uh, that's a great record. Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors are a great band. But so as far as Record Store Day goes, my go-to was going to be the Killers, and their Live at the Garden Encore EP featuring Bruce Springsteen. Trent, what about you? What were you
Very
what were you
cool.
eyeing up for Record Store Day?
Very cool. Well, so a very unique vinyl was produced by Miller High Life. And this wasn't, I don't think this was necessarily for Record Store Day, but they certainly rolled it out right around the same time. That couldn't have been an accident. And that was called Dive Bar Sounds. They got 4 tracks on that record. The way that they describe them makes it seem like it's a mix of literal dive bar sounds, but there is some maybe musical elements to it as well. And I thought that was very unique, especially because they infused this record with the champagne of beer. It has real Miller High Life inside of it, which was the first time that that has ever been done. And it's kind of kicked off this whole campaign that Miller High Life is doing this year for some music things, because as they kind of are putting it, they want to recognize what makes, a night at the dive bar so special. Of course, it's going to be Miller High Life for them. And then also the intersection of that with music that creates such a unique experience. So that's really cool. Definitely go. It's probably gonna be really difficult to get your hands on one of those anymore. I think they were all pre-order and are probably all gone. However, as I said, this is a kind of platform and campaign that they're doing all year. So there's several other giveaways and things like that that Miller High Life is doing. Teddy Swims tickets, VIP experiences, to
Yeah,
name
dude, that is
probably the
so
coolest
cool.
thing.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
what a good way to market a beer. Like,
absolutely.
as far as when you must immediately associate beer with bars and bars with music and all of those things, having that kind of marketing synergy and then doing it around Record Store Day too. So you're promoting your local places. Again, I went out to Grimey's, but whatever your local record store is, even if you're not listening to this in Nashville or if you have a place of your own that you prefer, support your record stores. Buy
Mhm.
buy vinyls every once in a while. Get a good record that's worth listening to top to bottom. Because that's the other thing with streaming. We're talking about the advent of the single, and I think we've lost some of that cohesion of the narrative. And I mean, I've talked about that
Hmm.
in some of our other episodes, namely mainly Fletcher Sapp's episode, Fletcher Not William, when he put out a whole record, and he and I talked about how we missed that, and how I think buying vinyl gives you that chance to really listen to something as it was intended with a narrative to it from top
Yes.
to bottom. And speaking of longer form releases, our guest today has a forthcoming EP that you should absolutely check out. It has been preceded by its singles, What I Gotta Do and The Tape, both of which are available to stream now. We love this guy. He's always been a hilarious dude. I have memories dating back to 2021 of seeing him play live. He's got a killer voice, and just such an edgy but unique sound at the same time. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Folks, say hello to Isaac Berryhill. All right. Well, Isaac Berryhill, welcome to the mixing room.
Thank you. Thank you
Dude,
for having me.
we're so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you.
We've got a lot to get to, some things to reminisce on, and some funny opinions of yours that I want to ask for your insight on. But before we do that, we did want to talk about one of your most recent releases, the single "What I Gotta Do."
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration and influences that went into making that song, and then tell us why you chose that one to be the lead single for the project.
Well, I think I came up with the chorus for that song about 2 years ago during like winter break, and then it kind of just sat around for a little bit like in my head. I didn't really know what to like do with it, and then one day I came up with the verse and then like the bridge, and then I recorded it a little bit like about a year ago. I recorded it in Ocean Way with my boy Richard Benedetto, shout out Richard, and Sam Hatfield, shout out Sam Hatfield, and Travis Keys was there too. But then I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the guitars, and I know I wanted Andre involved. That's my other roommate, but he was gone. He was in Mackinac playing on a gig like the whole summer, and so I waited for him to get back, and then we eventually recorded it in his room.
Yeah. Very cool.
So part of that was Ocean Way, and part of that was just in a dorm room or in a bedroom.
Yeah, I was in my house where I live now. Yeah.
Perfect. That's like kind of as
That's as Belmont as it gets.
as Belmont as it gets, but also kind of like as modern music industry as it gets too, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
That's very true. I think the studio is like decentralized now, and it's becoming less and less of a priority.
Right. Well, and there's so much you can do from home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about how you met some of those guys and how they play into your creative process now.
Well, I met Andre like first week of Welcome Week, like before classes even started.
Dude.
I was at what's that fountain that's like it's like right there in that picture. I met him there, and I heard him mention like The Cure, I think, or something like that, some kind of new wave band, and I was like, hey, I like them, so I was like asking him about it, and then I mentioned that I like to make my guitar sound shoegaze, and he like knew what that meant, and then we became really good friends. And
So what does that mean? Because
shoegaze?
I'm now also out of the loop.
oh yeah,
You gotta educate me too.
it started in the late 80s, early 90s. It's kind of an offshoot of like alternative rock music, a lot of indie, like even like jangly music, like very 60s inspired, very inspired by noise and effects pedals. The name comes from an article where I can't believe I'm saying this on the podcast. Real shoegazers know. I can't believe I just said that. They'll know why it's funny that I'm explaining shoegaze on the podcast. But anyway, shoegaze, it comes from an article where they were like making fun of the guy's lack of stage presence, and they were just gazing at their shoes the whole time because they were looking at their effects pedals, trying to make sure everything sounded okay, you know?
That makes so much sense, though.
Yeah, right? It makes sense now when you, like, know where it came from.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think the most definitive shoegaze band is My Bloody Valentine, and everybody's just been trying to copy them since.
Well, so there you are, trying to copy them at the fountain. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, but yeah, really. No, really, yeah. That song, I'm copying My Bloody Valentine. I don't know. I think I did a little bit of Beach Boys stuff too, like with the vocals and stuff. I want to. We need to talk Beach Boys.
Of course,
I don't know if that's
people
on the
at home.
agenda.
People at home don't know this, but for the past 3-4 years, anytime something major Beach Boys related happens in the world, I send it to Isaac. We like don't talk. Like we're like we know each other, but we're not like tight like that. But like
For the Beach Boys.
Anytime
Yeah.
something happens Beach Boys related, and I don't even remember why that started.
Dude, I don't know either, man. I mean,
I will say this. Somewhere in my phone, I believe it's September of 2021, I have a video of you playing Twist and Shout on Belmont's campus. It was like
Oh, yeah?
you and I don't know who all is in the video. But like one night we were coming out of a class or the CAF or something, and you just kind of hear this big noise, and it's like, ooh, what's going on over there? And there you are. You must have been playing for hours because you were just like, after this, like, I'm done. I'm going home. But just giving it everything you had. And it was like, man, this kid's got something.
thank you.
But so Beatles goes way back to that's my earliest memory of you. I don't know how that Beach Boys thing started.
Yeah, no, yeah. I love the Beatles too, man. The Beatles, that's like one of the first bands I liked. I have early memories of hearing like in my dad's car a lot of real hits like Help and like Hey Jude, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the Beatles. I really like the Beatles, man. I really got into them in like 8th grade ish, 7th, 8th grade. This dude was telling me about the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and he was like, it's about LSD, and I was like, no way. And then I listened
And then
to
you
it.
were like, what's that?
Yeah, I listened to it, and it like scared me. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've heard. And so I was like, I love it. And then I really got into them.
Dude, those deep cuts get weird. Beatles, Beach Boys. Okay, so you know what? Let me put you on the spot slightly.
Yeah.
What's the most Beatles influenced element on this EP? What's the most Beach Boys influenced? It could be something like very tiny.
With Beach Boys, I always kind of pull from their vocals, man. There's a lot of oohs, there's a lot of ahs. That's kind of like one of the only things I really do when I sing background vocals. And then the harmonies too with the Don't Know Why. It doesn't have vocals yet, but I want to do like a little Beatley harmony in it at one point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man. And now I want to get to, we got to talk about the tape too, because What I Gotta Do is already out. By the time this airs, the tape will also be out.
Yeah.
So What I Gotta Do, of course, lead single, the tape, second single, and then this EP's dropping. So why the tape as the song that kind of bridges us between that lead single and the full project?
Well, initially, I wanted to do it the other way around, and I wanted to do the tape first, and then I wanted to do What I Gotta Do. But I thought, me and Andre talked about it a little bit, and we both agreed that, like, What I Gotta Do is, like, more of a departure from, like, anything I've done before. So it'd be cooler to just be like, yo, what up? Here's this new crazy song. And then the tape's kind of a little more old school. It's got it. That one's really 60s. That's probably the most like outright 60s influence. It's kind of got there's like some like
Yeah,
I
the
don't know if
hand
that's gonna
claps
hurt
in
the
there.
mics.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. But yeah, there's. Hand
I noticed that
clapping.
because I was like, I don't know what I necessarily expected from this project, but it's like, okay, you've got like a whole EP coming out, like, and we'll get to talking about that in a minute because I think anybody who puts an EP out like in college, like that's impressive because that's a time commitment. But so knowing that, like, not only did you have the time to record that many songs to, you know, have them fully produced and everything, but then you're like, yo, we need some hand claps here. Like, just like, you know, those little minute details.
Yeah.
Like that was something that stood out to me that like you would take the time to make sure like, no, we need some fucking hand claps. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to make it.
No. And all of that really just came like organically. Like, it would just be me and Andre in his room and like, I would say, what if we did this? And he'd be like, yeah. Or he'd like figure out a way to like make it work even better, you know? It was all very just like a lot of yes, if that makes sense. Like it was very just organic and just building the song and, you know, just trying to like add stuff to it and have fun too. You know, it's fun to do stuff like that, you know? It's fun to like, I feel like making a song kind of feels like, it feels like a picture book kind of because you kind of like have all these little like things that you do and you kind of remember when you did it and then you kind of like every time I listen to a song that I did, like it feels like I'm remembering everything. Like with my first EP, I recorded that in my my friend Covey's shed. Shout out Covey Latham. And so every time I hear that, I just think of being in that shed and how hot it was.
This seems like a really cool project altogether. How did you reach the title of That's All, and why do you want to make an EP now?
I came up with the title That's All because the last track on it that's called That's All, that was like the title of that song for a while, but I also felt like that title kind of really summarized kind of what I want the EP to be loosely about. Like I graduated in December, so like, and we really started hitting the ground running with this, recording it in like January. And in that process and working with Andre and like all that, I really began to reflect on like my time at Belmont and kind of looking back. And all those songs were written like over from like freshman year on, you know, like it kind of, That's All to me. I was kind of like, well, that's it. You know, I'm graduated. That's kind of like the title. I wanted it to be like looking back on my experiences at school and like what I learned from it, you know, I don't know, making hit records.
I was wondering if that was kind of the influence on that. I was hoping it wasn't a moment of finality, not like a that's all, like I'm doing this EP
no.
and then I'm, you know, putting it away.
Yeah.
So we can expect more from you beyond this then.
Oh, dude, yeah, no. Honestly, I should probably call it like but wait, there's more or something. Because like honestly, this is just the beginning, man. Like we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep cooking.
Well, maybe that's the deluxe edition or something. Is like that's all, but wait, there's more.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, and you said these are songs that kind of cover all of college for you.
Yeah.
Which was that 3.5 years then? If you graduated December.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you packed a lot in there, I'm sure, and
Oh, yeah.
surely a lot of growth as an artist too. I mean, at a place like Belmont where you're just constantly meeting people who are matching your influences, sharing all new ones with you. How did that writing process, like you as a writer, how did you grow over the course of what became this project, especially, because it is kind of an all-encompassing piece?
I think the way I grew the most as a writer, and especially through being at Belmont, the biggest thing I realized is you kind of need to get over yourself in a way, because I don't know. I think when I left, but soon to be 4 years ago, when I left my town, I was like the only guy that was like really playing guitar, writing songs or anything, like even in my high school. So I kind of was like, yo, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm the GOAT, And I pulled up and I've met so many people doing all kinds of different things, and they were all so great and crazy. And I just realized, I don't know, over the course of the 3.5 years, I think the biggest thing I realized is like, you kind of just got to be like, hey, I'm doing this, because this is my calling, and like other people are doing this too because this is their calling. That doesn't make like anybody more important than anyone else, in the grand scheme of things. We're all just trying to like do what we love and, support each other, support everyone, support the local scene.
Dude, absolutely. And that became part of my elevator pitch to people. Like, you go home on Christmas break or whatever. Oh, how's school? Like, what's it like? Right? Because all they know is, it's Nashville and music, country music, right? They don't really have this idea of like, but Belmont's kind of a microcosm of like a lot of underground, and it's hard to kind of articulate that sometimes. And so what I would tell people is like, look, in high school, I was the kid with the band. And then at Belmont, like that's everyone in the cafeteria. That's all of them.
Yeah.
Like you're, constantly rubbing shoulders with people that you're like, oh dude, how was that gig last night? Oh, are you playing tomorrow night? Oh, I'm playing at the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so you're right. It becomes a thing of differentiation and not so much the struggle with that, but a certain acceptance of like, ooh, this is a much larger pond. There's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
And I think you do a great job of that. With some of your social media presence. We were kind of talking about that before we kind of properly started here. Tell us a little bit about how you found that kind of angle to take, because you're not someone who has a super clean, formal social media. You kind of run a very casual, like, hey man, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. Like, and it seems very authentic to you. So like, but it's brave. So like, tell me about how you market your music and market yourself, because you kind of almost do it in a way that doesn't feel like marketing. It's very impressive.
Thank you. Well, I have a lot of people I like Andy Kaufman. He was a comedian. I have a poster of him that I've had in my room. It's on the album cover. But he really just he was very authentic, but in a way that seemed like he wasn't at all. And I kind of like that. It kind of makes you get like a weird connection with him, like you almost like feel for him even though he's being so weird. But I like stuff like that, and I like Mac DeMarco, especially like this kind of deep cut stuff, but like in like the early days of his YouTube channel, he would just like post the weirdest stuff and be like, "Hey, new album out." And I don't know. I don't know. I've always thought that like my goal is never to be like super duper famous or whatever. I just want to like make money, So like if I can just have people that like what I do, and that's enough to make me like money, or if I just have a day job, I don't care. Like it's cool, you know what I mean? But the important thing to me is like you have a genuine connection to the music that I'm making, and because that's the most important thing, like I want to have in my mind I have connections to artists that I really love that like will never ever talk to me like ever, but I want to like have that with like other people in a way, I guess.
That's like beautiful. Like that's such a wholesome answer. I kind of expect you to be like, I don't know, I just make stuff. Like,
well, yeah, that too.
well, I think we should totally go off topic.
Sure. I mean, we've kind of just got a fun question for you, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing Mario Kart, all right, who is your go-to character and why?
and like cart.
Oh yeah.
Oh crap! I don't know the cards. I like Luigi.
All right.
And it's the stupidest reasons because I used to be on my computer too much when I was a kid, and I thought those videos that were like Luigi death stare compilations, I thought they were really funny. So I was like, I'm Luigi, and then he would do the death stare, and I'd be like, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You don't know the cards? Because for me, like, I mean, we were playing yesterday. For me, it's like either like Koopa Troopa or Yoshi, and then one of the like basic bikes. I just need something that I can drift pretty decent on.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Okay. If we're going off stuff like that,
Like I go bullet bike.
You go bullet bike. Okay, and you really like the drifting. That's like
Yeah.
your
Oh, manual drift, of course.
manual drift. Yeah, facts. Yeah. I like the drifting too. I think the carts I try to go for, I usually just try to go for what's fast or what's like fast, but also there's like an even balance, so I'm not like out of control. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not a good driver. Like,
I used to be back in my day. I have played a few times in the past few weeks, and I've marginally improved, but I'm far from what I used to be. That's for sure.
really? Yeah. We should
Yeah.
play.
We should play.
Okay, favorite Beach Boys deep cut.
Let me think.
And like low key, like almost anything's a deep cut. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
true,
anything
that's
that's
true.
not very obvious is a deep cut.
I mean, my favorite Beach Boys albums, Love You. So
That's already inherently that's gonna make everything a deep cut.
everything off of that. That's kind of like, I mean, that's one of my biggest influences too, because that record, Brian, is just so like honest, even though it's like kind of cringy.
But like, okay, but like that almost plays into what you were talking about earlier with like authenticity and like kind of presenting it in this way that's like you feel for the person, but you're also kind of connected to them. Like,
Yeah.
Brian Wilson's a great example of that, where it's like you almost can't tell if he's in on the bit, but like you're like I want this guy to win. Like you're rooting for him.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of my favorites, that just one that comes to mind, I'm not saying this is my absolute, this just comes to mind, is Surf's Up. Because also, what an ironic, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
it's the Beach Boys, a song called Surf's Up. Like, you're picturing a song in your head, and it's not that song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're picturing, like, something a la, like, Wipeout.
Yeah.
Right? Like, something, or maybe with some ooze over it, because it's the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And then it's not.
No. And it's like in 1971 too, you know, like it's crazy. Yeah. And I don't know if I read this somewhere or it's just like something I just conjured up in a dream I had or something, but I think I heard somewhere like Surf's Up also could be like interpreted as kind of like Time's Up, like Surf's Up, you know what I mean? But I definitely think they were doing the ironic approach.
No, but that
know?
actually, yeah. Especially at that point in the band's history. Like,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, I love
Shoot.
it, man. They changed direction so many times, and it's a shame that people didn't follow them along.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they were like ahead of their time with that though. Like I think now artists feel a certain need to keep growing and to keep kind of developing. That wasn't really a thing at that point. Like
That's
bands
true.
like the Beatles at that time, like they just existed and then they broke up. Right? Like you were popular for a short amount of time and then like that was it. And the Beach Boys kind of, I mean, really from Brian's direction, kind of said like, oh, no, we're just going to keep digging further and like trying to find things. And I mean, to your point, sometimes it worked, sometimes it really didn't. But
Yeah.
there was always that constant desire to kind of renew,
Yeah.
you know, and I think they were ahead on that.
Yeah.
Did you have a deep cut? It doesn't have to be crazy. I know we're insane. We don't like.
Yeah.
we're not that deep.
If we take it to the Beatles, I can weigh in a lot more.
Oh,
let's
yeah.
take it to the
talk
Beatles then.
Beatles, man.
Yeah.
What's your
Well, because dude, he went to London
No way.
a couple summers ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to London on a Belmont trip, but like I was there for like some audio engineering stuff, and we did a whole bunch of stuff. We toured Abbey Road. The professor that led the audio engineering part, he's been Alan Shacklock. He's been around the block a time or two, and he
Shack Block.
He's been around the Shack Block.
Yeah.
He worked in Abbey Road, like
Wow.
towards the tail end of the Beatles being there, right?
Wow.
So
So
he's
like the best time to work there.
the best time to work there, right? Like Alan Parsons being like a mentor of his and stuff, right? So, and then on our trip, we also got the opportunity to go up to Liverpool and do the whole Beatles thing, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Beatles Museum, like my buddies and I walked from John's house to Paul's house, like, you know, we did all of it.
How far of a walk was it?
You know, it didn't feel bad. It has to be like a mile or two, right? Wow. Like, because they did it like all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like through the woods or like slightly, you know, it's slightly more developed now than it was then. But like, I think back then it was a lot of it was like woods and countryside kind of.
Wow.
Which is, I think, a really big inspiration for some of the writing that they did together. You know, visited strawberry fields, all of that stuff. So that was really cool. I don't know. My favorite album is Rubber Soul.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if I could pick a favorite song though. I don't know.
Going back to our Beach Boys deep cuts, like all of Pet Sounds.
Yeah, I mean you cannot.
But anyway, sorry,
mention
you said
Pet
Rubber
Sounds.
Soul, and that just
Yeah. I like the one that Ringo sings.
Yeah,
What goes on?
yes.
In your heart.
Ringo was, as a vocalist, wildly underrated during his time in the band.
Yes, that part.
Yeah.
One time I was in the car with my grandpa. He's from the Bronx. His name's Richard Judge. I love him. We were listening to the Beatles Sirius XM radio, and that song was playing, What Goes On, and my grandfather goes, I can't sing, but I can sing better than Ringo.
Come on.
But
man.
no, seriously though, he has some wild opinions. One time he said like no good music happened after 1980 or something like that.
Yeah, you know, we've all got family members with a take like that.
That's true. That's
about
true.
music.
But I kind of hope one day that I'm the grandpa that's like, anything after 2020 was, you know, like I kind of want to be that guy.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You kids missed the 2010s, which low key we had some good pop, especially like first half of the 2010s. Like there's some good middle school dance music out there. Like the kids after us, like 5 years younger than us, I think they were listening to the same songs we were. Because
Really?
like, we had the best songs. Like if you listen to a 2010 station, it's like 80% like 2015 and before.
Oh yeah, you know that's a good point. I feel like
And then like Old Town Road. And that's kind of it.
Oh my god.
that sounds like the music that plays at my job. I work at a bar that's kind of close to Broadway. It's called Play Playground. Shout out Play Playground Nashville on Instagram. Actually, I think it's just Play Playground. But it's really fun. It's got like games.
Oh, well, you want us?
Yeah. You guys should pull up when I'm working. I usually work days, but we have a Velcro wall, but the Velcro hasn't been sticking lately, so it's more just a wall.
Nice.
But we also have this thing called record time. It's like there's like a balance beam, and you stay balanced on it while these records swing at you. And like there's like these word games and stuff, and like reverse operation. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
It sounds really
But
fun.
you guys blast 2010s pop?
Yeah,
That's
it's like
that's a unique thing.
It's
That's
a
not
horrible-
a Broadway common occurrence.
it's 2010s pop, but there's also it's like this mix that they just stream, and it's the same mix every day. Like I haven't memorized. Like I'll know which song will go into what, and it's a couple of throwbacks. But I noticed Old Town Road is pretty modern. They do like what's that one? Is like Stay Away from Them Broadway Girls. That one.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do stuff like that. I don't know. They are pretty modern with it, but nothing from like 2015 to 2018. Like you're
Yeah,
saying,
there's like a gap there.
there's a gap.
And
Yeah.
then there's like Old Town Road, maybe like one of Ariana Grande songs, like, you know,
Yeah.
something off like whatever record she put out right around that time. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But so that music, is that corrupting you or is that influencing you? Like you said you're still doing music and everything, you know, so when you're at work, is that recharging you? Is that like time where you kind of just go, I'm going to not listen to the music, and then when I go home, I'm going to listen with intent? How is that affecting what maybe we can hear from you further down the road?
Well, I think it's kind of made me realize, like, I listen to the music and I try to just find stuff I like because, you know, I used to be like, Like normally, I feel like a year ago, if I had the same job, I'd be like, I hate this music. Why? I wish they would play it. And then I'm like, they're not gonna play any music I like over here. You know what I mean? I mean, like I don't know. I like a lot of the music they play. I think there's some really good qualities. You know, pop music is fun. You know, like it really gets the people going. And it's like that period. It's like the last. I feel like since like that early pop period you're talking about, there hasn't been like as much of a unifying pop star. You know, I mean, we do have people, but like back then it was like, and I think that's because like the growing influence of social media, like everything's been more diversified since like 2015. You know, like it's harder to get people to focus on one person. You know, like in the way they used to focus on like I don't know Katy Perry or something.
I feel like we've gotten a little bit of a resurgence of that with like Sabrina Carpenter.
True, yeah.
But like still, I don't think it's the same. Or at the very least, it's going to take Sabrina another 5 years, maybe more, to and even then, I don't think she's ever going to have like a 1989 moment. You know what I mean? Like 1989, that record for Taylor was like there were like 7 singles on that record.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like banger after
like
banger.
Almost anyone who grew up in our generation could sing half of that record without really thinking about it.
That's true.
I don't know that we're gonna get to see that again. I hope we do.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would love it, but like you said, everything is so with streaming and socials. Everything's so just like the studio is decentralized. The audience is too, which is great because you can get listeners anywhere. But
yeah.
Or I guess you kind of get listeners everywhere, but not anywhere.
You need to clip that. That's a good one. But yeah, no, honestly, I think what I really listen for with the music is I just try to find stuff that I like. And like, if I like it, I'm going to like incorporate it. You know, I'm not going to like write like, I'm trying to think of a song that plays like, I'm not going to write a banger like last Friday night or something like that. But I'm going to take like, I like the drum beat or something. You know what I mean? And like, there's certain things in pop music, like arrangement wise, that like gets people interested in the music that like anybody can incorporate, you know? So I just listen for that. Or if I'm feeling mad, I just zone in and internal monologue and zone out the rest of the music. But usually I'm listening. I can't help but listen.
It gives you a window into what makes modern music commercial, right? And that's always going to be useful.
Yeah.
Even if you don't love every element, you can understanding the modern music scene is going to be useful for releasing music, no matter what.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the music that you're listening to at the moment.
What am I listening to? I've been listening to What I Gotta Do by Isaac Berryhill. Normally, like, honestly, yeah, I've been listening to that song a lot, straight up. I listen to, I don't know, I've been listening to all kinds of stuff, like Bad Brains. They're like early, like, they're DC hardcore, but they also do like a little bit of like reggae on their first album and other things. I don't know, 1975. I just listen to whatever, really. But what's really been my kick lately is like African music, man. Like stuff from West Africa, like Fela Kuti. I like some Congolese rumba type stuff, like where there's a lot of like guitar stuff in those kind of in that music that influences a lot of like jangly type stuff that like people really love, like the Smiths or like stuff like that. The kind of syncopation, like the dun 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 dun, stuff like that. Yeah, that kind of found its way in at least the Smiths and other people that kind of listen to them too. Talking Heads really like Fela Kuti and stuff like that. But yeah, man.
Well, so now you're like, you have your influences, and now you're kind of going to your influences. Like you're kind of chasing the lineage.
Yeah,
that's something I've never fully done. Like, I mean, I've done it to the degree that I've listened to the Beatles or the Beach Boys, and like, you know, that's going to inspire artists of the 70s. Like, I'm thinking mainly Bruce, you know.
Oh,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've never dove into those catalogs as deeply as I've dug into the catalogs of my, you know, say top 5.
Yeah.
So knowing that you're doing that makes me excited for projects from you in the future, because I can only imagine that they're going to, you know, kind of open up creatively even more so than this already phenomenal project that you have in That's All.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think figuring out your influences is like the easiest way to find more good music, because like if you're listening to something you like, you can say like, oh well, why do I like this? And then you say, well, like what? Oh, Big Mike's calling me, can I take this?
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
What up?
How you doing, man?
You feeling Nashville?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville right now, man. What's up?
Are you at work?
No, I'm actually recording an episode of the Mixing Room podcast.
Alright.
Yeah, man. That's my friend Big Mike.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Big Mike.
Well, so Isaac, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on the show. We're so happy that you have this EP called That's All, which is out now on all platforms. If you haven't heard the lead singles yet, The Tape and What I Gotta Do, those are out right now as well. You guys should give them a listen. We'll have all of that linked in the description of this episode and in the captions of our Instagrams and our TikTok and all of our socials as well. Thank you again, Isaac Berryhill. Pleasure having you.
Thank you guys for having me.
And that concludes our conversation with Isaac Berryhill. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, you're going to hear the same things over and over again. Make sure you go ahead and like this episode on YouTube. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars on Spotify. Do all of those things.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are on TikTok and Instagram at Mixing Room Podcast. And if you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop them in those comments or to email us at mixingroompodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening to this one. We will catch you next time.
Thanks, y'all. Take care.